Hey, in today's lesson, I'm going to teach you how to make long sentences in English using a simple method. This lesson is very close to my heart because this is where my journey started as an English teacher. I actually created an ebook called How to Make Long Sentences in English. I created this ebook and it's helped thousands of students around the world. But in this ebook, I literally teach how to break down sentences using the 5 W's method, which you've heard of: who, what, when, where, and why. Using this simple method to truly make advanced English sentences. So, in this series, I'm going to show you what is actually in my ebook to help you finally start making longer sentences, more advanced English sentences using this simple method. Now, if you want the ebook, you are welcome to get the ebook. All you have to do is go to www.speakenglishwithtiffani.com/tools. On this page, you'll find the link to purchase the How to Make Long Sentences in English ebook. So, in our lesson today, I am going to break down how to do this using a simple method. Are you ready? Well then, I'm Teacher Tiffani. Let's jump right in. All right, we're going to first start off by looking at an image. Remember, this is a method that I have been teaching for years, and I use it in the ebook, How to Make Long Sentences in English. So we're going to start with this image, and our goal is to look at this image and in a creative way come up with information that will help us make multiple sentences. So, what do we see? Well, I personally see, in order to answer the who, I see, he looks like a black man. So, for the who, I am going to write a black man. And remember, we're going to use this information to create our sentences. So, for the who, we have a black man. Now, what is he doing? When I zoom into the image, I see a hamburger. So I can say that he is eating a hamburger. All right, so this black man is eating a hamburger. All right, then when is he eating this hamburger? Let's see. If I'm looking at this image, I can see on the left side, right on his shoulder, it looks like there is some light reflecting and bouncing off of his shoulder. So I'm going to say likely during daylight hours. All right? Likely during daylight hours. Now, the next thing we need to answer is where. Where is he exactly? Well, if we look again at the picture, close to his shoulders, we see what kind of looks like a bench. So I'm going to say that he is possibly outdoors on a bench. I think this man is outdoors on a bench. We are organizing our information in order to make our sentences. And then what about the why? So I'm looking at the image and I'm trying to think, how can I describe this image? Why? Well, he looks very relaxed. Look at his shoulder positions. He looks like he is very relaxed, so maybe he wants to enjoy a meal in a casual setting. All right? Wants to enjoy a meal in a casual setting. All right, let's do this. In a casual setting. Again, we're organizing our thoughts, still using the 5 W's like we did in our previous lesson, but this time we're using the 5 W's in order to create longer sentences. So we have our image and we have our information organized. Now, how do we turn this information into several sentences. So now what we're going to do is we're going to see how this information turns into sentences. All right, so we have the image number 1. Now what if we were to do who plus what? This is the sentence. A black man who is eating a hamburger. Very simple sentence. A black man who is eating a hamburger. What? But what if we switched it around and now we're going to use who plus what plus when? A black man is eating a hamburger likely during daylight hours. You caught that, right? Who? A black man. What? Eating a hamburger. When? Likely during daylight hours. Don't forget, remember, we just looked at the image and we organized each of the 5 W's based on what we saw. We were very creative looking at the image in detail, all right? So now going back to our sentences, now I want us to try to make a longer sentence. So what if we're to use who plus what plus when plus where? Here's the sentence. A black man is eating a hamburger, likely during daylight hours, sitting outdoors on a bench. Who? A black man. What? Is eating a hamburger. When? Likely during daylight hours. Where? Sitting outdoors on a bench. You see what's happening, right? You see the power of the 5 W's, not just to give a long response, but also to create an advanced English sentence. But we can make even more. What about this one? Our 4th example, who plus what plus when plus where and why. Again, same image. Here's the sentence. A black man is eating a hamburger, likely during daylight hours, outdoors on a bench, possibly enjoying a meal in a casual setting. Now, this is a very long sentence, but you see that each of the 5 W's is found in this sentence. Again, who? Yes, a black man. What? Eating a hamburger. When? Likely during daylight hours. Where? Outdoors on a bench. Why? Possibly enjoying a meal in a casual setting. Now you can mix the order. You can change the order, but I'm showing you the power of the 5 W's. What about one last example sentence for this image? Who plus what plus why? Who? A black man is eating a hamburger, possibly enjoying a meal in a casual setting. The what? Eating a hamburger. Why? Possibly enjoying a meal in a casual setting. Once again, everything that we organized in a creative way when we looked at the image originally can be found in our sentences. So once again, we can use the 5 W's to make creative sentences. Once we have the framework, once we have the fundamentals, we can expand. Now, what if we actually look at a different image? I want us now to go to a different image. Here's our 2nd image. Now we have what looks like a group of young people, right? So, what do we have to do? Once again, remember, we need the who. So, who do we see in this image? For this image, I'm going to say a group of university students. Why? We see the young lady right here. For those watching, we see the young man right here. And we see another young man right here. They don't look too old. So let's say a group of university students, all right? A group of university students. Now, the next thing we want to find out is what are they doing, all right? What are these individuals doing? Well, if we zoom in just a bit, we can see that they're each on their cell phones. We see them on their cell phones or their smartphones while they're in class. Uh-oh. So, because we see them on their smartphones, now we can write looking at their smartphones during a lecture. So, looking at their smartphones during a lecture. Now remember, what we're doing together here, you can do at home as well, getting multiple pictures and then writing down the 5 W's. You can think creatively, all right? Looking at their smartphones during a lecture. Now when is this happening? Well, remember we said a group of university students. It looks like they are possibly in class, all right? It looks like it's during a class. So I'm going to say during a university class to answer the when. During a university class, okay? And we have 2 more W's to answer. Where? Now the where, we can simply look at the background, all right? It looks like a lecture hall, right? We see the way that the seats are structured in the background. We see that there are also tables, desks right here. So we can say in a lecture hall, all right? In a lecture hall. And why? Why do we think this is happening? Why are they on their phones? So for me personally, I'm going to look at their eyes. It looks like, again, they're all very focused on their phones. So they're not paying attention. That means they are distracted. So I'm going to say distracted or multitasking during the lecture. So I'm going to put distracted or multitasking during the lecture. Okay? Multitasking during the lecture. Again, when you are looking at an image, you can decide what to write next to the who, the what, the when, the where, and the why. It's the fun part. All right, so we have our information for image number 2. Now it's time for us to use this information to create sentences. So we have image number 2. Let's say we use who plus what. So here's the sentence. A group of university students is looking at their smartphones during a lecture. So we have one group. This group is doing what? Looking at their smartphones during the lecture. We have who and what. Now, let's do who, what, and when. Here we go. A group of university students is looking at their smartphones during a university class. Notice that this is very similar to the last sentence. In the last sentence, though, I just added during a lecture. So again, our second sentence, who, a group of university students, what, is looking at their smartphones, when, during a university class. So the entire sentence one more time. A university or a group of university students is looking at their smartphones during a university class. What about this example? Again, we're being creative and combining the 5 W's. Who plus what plus when plus where. A group of university students is looking at their smartphones during a university class in a lecture hall. You see it again. It's so simple, but so powerful. The 5 W's, you can do so much with this simple method. We have the who, the what, the when, and the where. What about having all 5? Here's the sentence. A group of university students is looking at their smartphones during a university class in a lecture hall, likely distracted or multitasking during the lecture. Who? A group of university students. What? Looking at their smartphones. When? During a university class. Where? In a lecture hall. Why? Likely distracted or multitasking during the lecture. This sentence right here is an advanced English sentence. Why? We have each of the 5 W's included in this one sentence. And what did we do? We simply started by being creative, looking at an image together and figuring out the who, what, when, where, and why. My friend, you can do this even when you're at home by yourself. But there's one more sentence. Here's the last sentence for image number 2. Who, what, and why. A group of university students is looking at their smartphones, likely distracted or multitasking during a lecture. Who? A group of university students. What? Is looking at their smartphones. Why? Likely distracted or multitasking during a lecture. You see, we have 5 sentences. Listen to me, my friend. 5 English sentences, advanced English sentences, simply because we were able to think creatively and organize the information for the who, the what, the when, the where, and the why. But can we really do it with any image? Can we really do it with any image? I want us now to look at image number 3. Image number 3 might seem to be a bit more challenging. This is image number 3. It looks like a woman, for those listening, a woman walking through the city, maybe early in the morning. We can't see her face, we just see her back. So we have to organize the information. So we're gonna start with, once again, the who. So for the who, I'm going to say a woman with a bag. Again, you can say whatever you like. A woman with a bag. Why am I saying a woman with a bag? Well, I'm guessing. I'm looking at her long hair. I'm saying, oh, okay. This is a woman. Also her body frame, right? Looking at her body frame. And then she has a bag. She's holding a bag. So again, for who, I said a woman with a bag. Now, what is she doing? Looking at her in this picture, it looks like she's moving forward, right? She's walking, but her head is kind of tilted to the right. So she's probably looking at something. So I'm going to say that she's walking and looking around. So for the what, I'm going to say that she's walking and looking around. Walking and looking around. Okay, but what about the when? When is this happening? And I had mentioned this at the very beginning when I showed this image. When is this happening? Well, again, I'm looking at the kind of smoke that's coming up from the ground, and it's not dark, but it's also not too light. There's kind of what looks like a glimmer of sunlight, like maybe from a sunrise on the side of the building. So I'm going to say that this is daytime in an urban setting. All right, so I'm going to say daytime. Let's just write daytime in an urban setting, right? In an urban setting. And this is actually kind of where, but we're going to write that in an urban setting. Remember, we're organizing our information in order to create sentences. Now, the next thing we have to answer is where. All right, where is this happening? Now, a few moments ago, I pointed out these buildings, right? There are tons of buildings, right? So we see lots of buildings and lots of tall buildings around her. So I'm going to say a city street with tall buildings because we see the street right here. We can see the crosswalk right here. So we're going to say a city street with tall buildings. A city street with tall buildings. All right. And finally, why? Why is this woman walking and looking around? So it looks like she is kind of enjoying herself. She doesn't look like she's rushing. She's just basically kind of meandering, walking around, just from looking at the picture. So I'm going to say that the reason why she is walking and looking around is because she's commuting or exploring the area. So she's either commuting or she is exploring. All right, she's exploring the area. All right, commuting or exploring the area. So we have our information organized about this image. Now it's time for us to create our sentences, all right? Again, using the 5 W's we just organized. So let's say who plus what. Here's the sentence. A woman with a bag is walking and looking around. Who? A woman with a bag. What? Is walking and looking around. It just seems so simple, right? It seems too easy, but again, what did we do? We looked at this image and we organized the who, the what, the when, the where, and the why, and now we're able to make sentences. So going back now, what about who plus what plus when? Here's the sentence. A woman with a bag is walking and looking around during the daytime in an urban setting. This sentence, who? A woman with a bag. What? Walking and looking around. When? During the daytime in an urban setting. It's so simple to make these sentences because we organized the 5 W's. Now, I want us to move on to the next sentence. Who plus what plus when plus where. Here's the sentence. A woman with a bag is walking and looking around during the day on a city street with tall buildings. Listen, I get excited. I get excited as an English teacher when I realize that I'm able to give you the tools to help you speak English better, baby. Look, watch this. Who? A woman with a bag. What? Walking and looking around. When? During the day. Where? On a city street with tall buildings. This is an advanced English sentence, and the only thing we used is the 5 W's method. Who, what, when, where, and why. Look at the next sentence, another amazing sentence. Who plus what plus when plus where, and we're adding the why. Here's the sentence. A woman with a bag is walking and looking around during the day on a city street with tall buildings, possibly commuting or exploring the area. Now, I want you to think about this. I want you to think about this honestly. When we first started with this image, if I'd asked you, hey, can you describe this image? Would you have been able to give me a sentence that included all of this information off of the top of your head? This sentence right here. Not before this lesson. But now, now my friend, now that you know how to organize your thoughts, how to think creatively, now you're able to create a sentence like this. And what about this sentence? I feel like I'm excited. I'm more excited than you. You're excited too? Come on and smile. Yeah. Here's this sentence right here. Who plus what plus why? A woman with a bag is walking and looking around, possibly commuting or exploring the area. Who? A woman with a bag. What? Walking and looking around. Why? Possibly commuting or exploring the area. This is how simple it is for you to make long sentences in English. Listen, we have 2 more images and I'm so excited to break these images down, but I want to remind you, everything that I'm showing you literally comes from the ebook. Again, how to make long sentences in English. In the ebook, you'll see images, just like we're going over right now. Why? My whole goal is to help you finally speak English with confidence. So again, all you have to do if you want the ebook is again go to www.speakenglishwithttiffani.com/tools and you'll see the ebook, How to Make Long Sentences in English. This is the ebook where you'll learn even more of what I'm teaching you in this lesson. So now let's go back to check out our next image. Let's now go and check out our 4th image. Here's the 4th image. This image is also a good one. I like this image too. This brother is enjoying his meal. All right, so we have this image right here. And again, our job, our goal is to start by answering who in the world is this? So looking at the image, what do we see? Well, to me, I do see a man, but he doesn't look like he's in his 20s. Looking at his beard and his hair, it looks like he is a middle-aged man. Even looking at his clothes, right? He probably just got off from work. So I'm going to say a middle-aged man in this image. A middle-aged man. All right, a middle-aged man. Okay, what is he doing? Now, if you're watching this video lesson, you can definitely tell what he's doing. He is enjoying his meal. So we can see that he is actually eating noodles. They look delicious. All right, you can see that he's eating noodles, and it looks like they are in a cardboard or paper box. So we can see that this man is eating noodles from a paper box. Here we go. Eating noodles from a paper box. All right, noodles from a paper box. All right, now the next thing we want to answer is when. When is he eating these noodles from the paper box? Well, we can see that he's watching TV as well, right? So I think he's quite relaxed. So I'm going to say this is during his leisure time. He's inside, he's not outside. So I'm going to say indoors during his leisure time. All right, when? Indoors, which is also part of where. Indoors during his leisure time. All right, he's just relaxing. All right, during his leisure time. But here's the next question. Where exactly is he eating these noodles? Where exactly? Now, we can see that there's a chair right here behind him, right? So he's sitting on a chair, and it looks like, because you see the plants in the background, beautiful plants, it looks like he is in his living room. We see this nice bookcase in the background with beautiful plants. Then he has another shelf with probably photo albums. So I'm going to say that he is in the living room seated in an armchair. All right, so I'm going to say in the living room, and I'm going to put this in parentheses, he's seated in an armchair. All right, he's seated in an armchair. And then the last question is why? Why is he doing this? Why is he eating noodles from a paper box? So honestly, I think he's really just relaxing. Look at his shoulders. Now they're probably up because he's excited about the meal, but he still looks like he's relaxing his legs. He's very relaxed. So why? I think because he's relaxing and enjoying a meal. So I'm gonna say he's relaxing and enjoying his meal. That's exactly why. Enjoying a meal. All right, so we have the 5 W's: who, what, when, where, and why to describe this image. Now, what sentences can we make about this image? All right, so here we go. Let's go back now and check out who plus what. A middle-aged man is eating noodles from a paper box. Who? A middle-aged man. What? Eating noodles from a paper box. Now, this is a good sentence. It's a basic English sentence, right? So someone at the level 1 or level 2 English level can say this sentence very easily. Yes, a middle-aged man is eating noodles from a paper box. But we gotta go deeper. We wanna make sure we improve your ability to make longer sentences. So what about who plus what plus when? A middle-aged man is eating noodles from a paper box indoors during leisure time. Ooh, wait a minute, fancy. Who? Middle-aged man. What? Eating noodles from a paper box. When? Indoors during leisure time. What's happening? Our sentence is expanding. Why? Because we're using the 5 W's. Remember, we organized the 5 W's by looking at the image together. We got the who, we got the what, the when, the where, and the why. Now we are able to create these sentences because we first organized the 5 W's. What about this next sentence? A more advanced English sentence using who, what, when, and where. Here's the sentence. A middle-aged man is eating noodles from a paper box, indoors during leisure time in the living room seated in an armchair. You can even start to picture, if you're listening to this episode, to this lesson, and you can't see the image, just from the way I'm reading the sentence, you can start to imagine what the picture looks like. This is what happens when you use the 5 W's. The people listening to you will be able to picture what you're saying, and they'll be more interested. They'll want to listen to you more. All right? So what about this next one? Another advanced English sentence using each of the 5 W's. Who, what, when, where, and why. Here we go. A middle-aged man is eating noodles from a paper box indoors during leisure time in the living room, seated in an armchair, relaxing and enjoying a meal. I described the image fully. How, Tiff? Because we organized all the information at the beginning. While looking at the image, we created information for each of the 5 W's. And what about the final sentence we can create using the 5 W's? Who, what, and why. Here's the sentence. A middle-aged man is eating noodles from a paper box, relaxing and enjoying a meal. Again, a great sentence based on the 5 W's. But really, Tiff, can we really do this for any image? I'm so glad you asked. I'm so glad you asked. The answer, my friend, is yes. So I want us to look at image number 5. Here's image number 5. This woman is also enjoying a meal. But remember, we have to start with who. We want to organize the 5 W's. So I want us again to look at this image, and I want us to figure out who this is. So trying to figure out the who. I'm going to say, as I zoom in on the image, I see that it's a woman, but I also see that she is wearing headphones. So I'm going to describe her and mention the headphones. So here we go. Who are we looking at in this image? A woman wearing headphones. And for those listening, I want you to imagine a woman wearing headphones. You should be able to describe an image or a situation in a way that will cause the person listening to you to imagine it in their minds. All right? So we see a woman wearing headphones. Now, what is she doing? Now, I can see that there is, let's see, this is some milk. We see a jar of milk, and we also see a bowl. And on the left, we see what looks to be a container of cereal. So I'm going to say that she's eating cornflakes with milk. Again, being creative. Think about it. You might see something different. I'm going to say eating cornflakes with milk. So those listening, I want you to imagine the woman wearing headphones. What is she doing? Eating cornflakes with milk. All right, so when is this happening? Well, I'm naturally going to assume because she has the milk, because she has what looks to be a bowl of cereal, that it's either breakfast time or snack time. So I'm going to write breakfast or snack time, because sometimes you just want a little sniggity snack, so you get a bowl of cereal. Sniggity snack is not a real term, slang. Breakfast or snack time. All right, breakfast or snack time. Where is this happening? Well, looking closer at the picture, we can see that she's at a very nice table. It's very shiny, very reflective, very clean. So I'm going to say that she's actually at a dining table, all right? So where is this happening? I'm going to say at a dining table, right? She's eating the cereal at a dining table. Remember, we're organizing the 5 W's in order to create longer sentences. And then why? Why is she eating this breakfast or eating this snack? Let's say, you know what? Again, going back to the fact that she has headphones on, I'm going to say maybe she just wanted to have a meal while listening to music or a podcast. All right? So she wanted to have a meal while listening to music or a podcast. All right? It might be music or it could be a podcast that she's listening to. Maybe she was listening to it and said, hey, I'm a little hungry. I want to eat something while I listen to this podcast. All right? So we have the 5 W's, information about this image. Now let's create some interesting sentences. Here's the first sentence. Who plus what? A woman wearing headphones is eating cornflakes with milk. Very simple, great sentence, but kind of the basic level. Beginner. Let's continue. Now let's move up to the intermediate level. Who plus what plus when? Here's the sentence. A woman wearing headphones is eating cornflakes with milk, likely at breakfast or snack time. We're already getting into the intermediate level. You see it, right? Who plus what plus when? 3 aspects are included in this sentence. Let's move on. Now we're getting even more advanced. Who plus what plus when plus where? Here's the sentence. And those listening, try to imagine what the picture looks like. A woman wearing headphones is eating cornflakes with milk at a dining table, likely at breakfast or snack time. Even though I can see the image, when I read the sentence, I immediately pictured it in my mind, right? When I take my eyes off the image, I can actually imagine it. Why? Because the elements of the 5 W's can be found in this sentence. And now we have the most advanced sentence with the 5 W's. Who, what, when, where, and why. Here's the sentence. A woman wearing headphones is eating cornflakes with milk at a dining table, likely at breakfast or snack time, having a meal while listening to music or a podcast. The student would get an A+ on my test. I love it. Each of the 5 W's. Who, a woman wearing headphones. What, eating cornflakes with milk. When, likely at breakfast or snack time. Where, at a dining table. Why, having a meal while listening to music or a podcast. You get it. You get it. Once again, what are we seeing? We're seeing that each of the 5 W's we organized, who, what, when, where, and why, can be used to create great English sentences. And what about this final one? Using 3, who plus what plus why. A woman wearing headphones is eating cornflakes with milk, having a meal while listening to music or a podcast. Who? A woman with headphones. What? Eating cornflakes with milk. Why? Having a meal while listening to music or a podcast. My friend, I know that English can be challenging. I know that some days are easier than others, and some days are much more challenging than others. But I hope this lesson helped you to realize by using the 5 W's method, you, my friend, can truly start making advanced English sentences. Don't forget, you can get the book by going to speakenglishwithttiffani.com/tools. And my friend, I'll talk to you in the next lesson. You still there? I know. I decided instead of story time for today, I just wanted to let you know something. I was teaching this lesson today. I guess this is story time, so let's do the song. Story time. Hey, I said it's story time. I wasn't planning on giving you a story, but this actually is a story. So as I was preparing this lesson and as I was teaching this lesson a few moments ago, I was reminded of how this journey of being an online English teacher started. Literally, I remember creating the ebook, How to Make Long Sentences in English, when I was in South Korea. And I remember in my mind saying, Tiff, this is going to help so many students, so many English learners around the world are finally going to be able to make sentences in English without any stress. What's interesting is the same passion I had back then not only is here today, but has been magnified. The smiles you see on my face each time I teach you a lesson, they're real. I'm not acting. I'm really happy to be here. And I'm even more excited to help you. English, yes, it's a language that is challenging, but I want to be your teacher. I want to be by your side on your English journey, helping you not only improve your English, but also enjoy the journey. So I hope I can motivate you. I hope I can encourage you. I hope you know that I believe in you. And I hope that you'll stay with me here on YouTube for a long time. If you're listening to the podcast, keep following the podcast, and I'll keep producing lessons to help you on your English journey. I love you. I care about you. And most importantly, I believe in you. I'll talk to you next time.